Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox.
Oh boy. This is gonna be a long one. The Edgelord frame, Sevagoth Prime, is the newest frame and prime added to the game. Most of you probably get Space Sevagoth, use him for mastery fodder and subsume him for Gloom. But I personally think it's a lot more than that. Now, he is a very squishy frame, with only 370 health and shields when maxed out, so I have 3 builds from him in this video. Sevagoth can be farmed from the Railjet missions, Voidstorm, Pluto, Saturn and Neptune Proxima. This is a massive pain in the ass to farm and I can't lie, but it is required to be able to subsume him. He is a massive former requirement, as he technically has 2 exalted weapons, one of them kind of being a second frame. Sevagoth Shadow. Now this may mean most of you won't want to use him, but trust me, it's very worth it. While it is a big investment, I find him to be an extremely fun glass cannon frame. That is changeable though. Firstly though, we have his abilities and their synergies. His first ability is Reap. This launches out Sevagoth Shadow and does good damage. Any enemy who survives this gets the Death's Hardest status effect, a damage over time effect that goes very well with his second. This ability is also used to charge his fourth. Any enemy killed with Reap charges death while gauge. Reap also has an augment, Shadow Haze. This augment means that every enemy that dies while affected by Death's Hardest will spawn an extra shadow, and stacks up to 3 times, meaning you will have 3 shadows out at once dealing Death Harvest. It also increases damage vulnerability and crit chance, so Sevagoth kind of a red crit machine. And this synergizes amazingly with the second ability, so this ability also inflicts its own damage over time effect. This is the other ability with an augment, Dark Propagation, causes enemies killed while inflicted with so to explode in a 15 meter radius, inflicting itself onto other enemies in the radius. This effect also applies to Death's Harvest from his one, making an amazing nuke. His third ability is Gloom, the main reason he is subsumed. This is a channeling ability, so while enemies are near and it is active, you can only get more energy from pickups. This ability will only drain energy when enemies are within Gloom's radius. In my opinion, this does make it better than a standard channeling ability, as if you are not near enemies, abilities such as Nourish or the Xenoric Wellspring can be used. Gloom's main features include slowing down and increasing their vulnerability to damage. This once again synergizes greatly with his first and second, as increased damage will increase how easily he nukes. His fourth ability is called Exalted Shadow. This causes you as a player to become the Shadow, while Sevagoth kinda just stands there. This is an ability that you need to charge up using his second and first ability in order to reach at least 80% of the death or gauge. Once you have used the fourth and become the Shadow, it will lead on to another 3 abilities. All of these 4 abilities scale with strength, but only the first 3 scale with duration and efficiency. The fourth only scales on strength, and there's no way to increase how long you are in Shadow for. Onto Shadow's abilities. Shadow's first ability is called Embrace. This pulls enemies in a cone in front of Sevagoth to him. While they are lifted, Xmas do tend to ignore this ability, with the same as all Gather abilities, straight up. But it is still a great ability, as Shadow is a melee user. Shadow's second ability is Consume. You charge straight forward, and if you hit an enemy in that time, again, other than Xmas, insta-kill them and it will give lifesteal. So basically, as soon as your health is low, Embrace and then Consume so you don't die. His third ability, Death's Harvest, gives, believe it or not, a Death's Harvest, the same DOT effect that comes from his first. This scales on strength and duration, similar to Thermal Sunder on Gauss. His fourth and final ability, Reunite, puts you back into the body of Sevagoth. Sevagoth's passive is also kind of insane. When downed in normal form, you are revived as Shadow, and in this state you are required to kill 5 enemies within 15 seconds. If you die within this state, you don't get a bleed out timer and just die, but if you do manage to kill 5 enemies, you get revived in the same way you would if a teammate revived you. So you keep whatever Incarnon you've got on, and any energy before death. Consume also costs no energy in this state. Now, onto the builds. Many people hate shield gating, so I'll leave that till last. The first one is a straight nuke that subsumes shadow, and the second one is the one that incorporates shadow with no extra former cost. We go for a range strength setup, which works great with Gloom. So firstly we use overextended for range, but we lose a bit of ability strength. Hence why we use transient fortitude to add ability strength and ability duration. Minus ability duration, sorry. And then continuity to counteract the loss of duration. We use prone flow for maximum energy, which obviously is quite needed in any build. We use blind rage for 90% ability strength, but negative 50 efficiency. Efficiency is never really much of a problem with Sevagoth, I've found out. Then we use shadow haze and dark propagation, the augments, which I explained earlier. Then vitality for more health. This makes it a bit easier to survive. He's still very squishy with only 672 health, but then the arcanes I use personally are Molt efficiency. While not maxed out, it doesn't really matter, and Molt augment for stacking ability strength. In the second build we use redirection instead for the shield capacity, but then we use transient fortitude again, but this time we use augur message for more duration and also allows for a minor bit of shield gating. We then again use prime flow, blind rage, shadow haze and dark propagation, and continuity. Same augments, the same augments and the same arcanes too. In all these we're using energy siphon because the extra energy regen is great for non-channeling abilities, but yeah. And then the shield gating setup. So first we use catalyzing shields, so obviously we have very little shield here, but we also have 1.3 seconds of shield gate duration. Then rolling guard, so every time you dodge you become invulnerable for 2.6 seconds and remove stats effects, but there is a 9-second cooldown. Then we use dark propagation, prime flow, blind rage, augur message. This is the true shield gating thing. So every time you spend energy, 80% of it is converted to shields. Again, shadow haze and augur reach again, so you get the energy converted to shield. This works even better when you combine it with my epitaph damage setup, which use augur pact, which will then increase 120% energy spent to ability shields, more shield gating. But I hope you've enjoyed the building and seeing the gameplay for Sevagoth. He is probably one of my new favourite frames, and I don't think I'll be dropping this game anytime soon just because of him. Thank you if you've made it to the end of the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.